In this video, we are going to focus on how we can subtract binary number system numbers. So let's start with the decimal number systems, how we normally subtract. So when you are subtracting 6 from 7, we know the answer is 1. That's not an issue. And if you have something like 9 and you're subtracting 7, that's also not an issue. You can directly write 2. If you have 17, okay, and you're subtracting a number like 9, okay, well, this creates a problem because you can't directly subtract 7 directly subtract 9 from 7. Okay, you can't do 7 minus 9. So what you do is you borrow, okay, you borrow from the tens place. Since this is the unit place or 10 to the power 0's place, you are borrowing 1 from the tens place. Since you are borrowing from tens place, you get 10 ones. Okay, you get 10 ones. And you already have 7. You already have 7. And now you will cut off how many you want to subtract, so which is 9, and you finally write down 8 here. Okay, even though you are borrowing 1 from here, okay, you are borrowing 1 from here, it becomes 17. Okay, it's a 10 added to the 7. Okay, so that's what happens. Okay, so similarly we are going to do for binary. I'm not going to draw abacus and all. We are going to directly do the idea, directly learn the idea and try some example questions. So when you have 1 and if you want to subtract 0, that's not an issue. The output is 1. Okay, if you have 0 and if you're subtracting 0, that's also not an issue. 0 minus 0 is 0. That's not an issue. But if you have 1 0 and you are subtracting 1, well, this creates a problem, definitely, because you can't directly subtract 1 from 0. 0 minus 1 is not directly possible. So what you have to do here is you have to borrow 1 from the 2's place. You're going to borrow 1 from 2's place. Since you are borrowing from 2's place, you get a 2 here. Get a 2 here. So you get a 2 here. Like when we did for decimal, when you borrow from 10's place, you got a 10. And in binary number system, if you are borrowing from 2's place, you get a 2. And we know 2 minus 1 is equals to 1, and that is fine. Okay, and let's make it a little bit challenging. Let's say we have 1 0 0 and you're subtracting 1. Well, in this case, obviously you can't directly subtract you can't directly subtract 1 from 0, so you have to borrow from here. But the thing is, here also we have a 0, so we can't borrow from here. So when you face this problem in decimal number system, okay, what you do is you'll borrow 1 from here, okay, which will give you 10. In that case, here it will give you 2. Okay, relative to this one. Okay, relative to, okay, so this is the number. Okay, so this is, we know, 2 to the power 0. This is, we know, 2 to the power 1. And this one we know 2 to the power 2. Okay, so you may think like, since I'm borrowing from here, shouldn't I get 4? Okay, shouldn't I get 4? But the thing is, when you are borrowing here, relative to this number value, it works as a 2. Okay, relative to this place value, that works as a 4. Okay, relative to this number value, this digit in the ones place, it works as 4. Okay, so since you're borrowing from here to and you're giving here, it will be a 2, like you normally do in decimal number system. If you have 100 and if you want to subtract 9, what you do is, first of all, you try to borrow from here. Since you can't borrow from here, you will borrow from here, and that 1 comes as a 10 here. Okay, even though this is hundreds place, okay, this digit in hundreds place, this comes as a 10. Since this is tens place, for tens, hundreds is like tens for ones. Okay, so here you get 10 and you will again borrow 1 from here, so you will be left with 9 here and you will get a 10 here. You can subtract 9 from 10, so it will be 1, and since you have 9 here, you will write down 9 here. That's it. This is what you normally do. This is what happens, okay, when you're a child, a small child, you learn this. But then since you did so many practice questions, you just forgot how you do, but you are able to do the questions. Okay, so that's what we are trying here in binary number system also. Okay, so you are borrowing from here, you have 2. Now you have to borrow 1 from here, so this becomes 1 and you will have a 2 here. 2 minus 1 is 1, and since you have a 1 here, you will write the 1 here, and this one becomes 0 since you borrowed that 1. Okay, so that's it. So these are, just keep in mind, this is just a binary number system. Okay, so this is all you have to do. So we have to practice. Yeah, obviously we have to practice because practice is very important. So let's say we have a question like 1100 minus 111. Well, how can we do this? This is binary. So first of all, you have to try and subtract 1 from 0. So you have to borrow 1 from here. Since you don't have 1 here, what you can do is you can borrow from here. If you borrow from here, this becomes 0. This becomes 0. You get a 2 here and you can borrow 1 from here and you will get 2, but this becomes 1. Okay, so 2 minus 1, you'll get 1. Okay, and you have 1 here. 1 minus 1 is equals to 0. And since you borrowed 1 already, you will have a 0 here. So in 0, you can't actually subtract 1. So what you have to do is you have to borrow from here, which will give you 2. So 2 minus 1, it will be 1. Okay, I'll use a different color here after so that you can understand the process from the question. So let's say we have 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, and you are asked to subtract 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. What can we do? Well, this is binary number system question. So how can we perform this? Well, here, look at this. Since you have 1 and 1, it's not an issue. You can subtract 1 from 1, you'll get 0. Since you have 0 here, you can't subtract 1. So you try to borrow from here. But the thing is, you have 0 here also. Then you'll try to borrow from here. Unfortunately, here also there is a 0. So what you have to do is you have to borrow from here first, which will give you 2. Now you will borrow 1 from that. So that will give you 2 here, but there will be a 1 here. And you can't stop here because you have to give a 1 here. Okay, so it will be 1 here, and here it will become 2. Why? Since you are bringing from here, it becomes a 2, but there is a 1 gone. So 2 minus 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, and here you have 1. So what happens to this one? Well, since we lent the digit, it has no value, so it becomes 0. Okay, so 1010 to the base 2. Okay, so this is how you have to do this question. Let's say we have something like this, 100 000, and you have to subtract 11011 minus 11011. Well, what you have to do is, well, it's the same thing. Let me write down the binary number system. Okay, so what you have to do is, you can't subtract 1 here, so you have to borrow here. You can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. So when you borrow here, it becomes 2, but you are giving 1 here, so it will be 1, 1, 1, 1, and there will be 2 here. So 2 minus 1 will be, well, this one becomes 0. So 2 minus 1 will be 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, 1 minus 0 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0, 1 minus 1 is 0. So the answer will be 101 or 101. Okay, 101. Well, now let's do another question. Let's say we have 101010, and you have to subtract minus 10101 to the base 2. How can you do this? Well, it's the same drill. You start from the rightmost corner. So here you have 0, well, you can't subtract, so you will borrow 1 from here, so it will become 2, well, you can't subtract here, so it will be 0. So 2 minus 1 is 1, 0 minus 0 is 0. Again, to the same thing, it becomes 0, and here you have 2. 2 minus 1 is 1, 0 minus 0 is 0. Again, you will borrow from here, so it will become a 2 here, so you can cut it out, so it will be 0. 2 minus 1, 1. So the answer will be 10101.
Thanks for watching the 12th video in our number system series. If you found this tutorial on binary subtraction helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more lessons. Hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. Check out the full playlist to master number systems and follow us on Instagram. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep learning and stay curious. Bye bye.